So singers, do you find yourself settling for smaller goals when you run into challenges? Hello, I am Katti Power, and I'm a vocal health expert. I'm a performance coach and author, and I've spent the past 20 plus years helping performers achieve amazing goals that they set for themselves, all without ever losing their voices. And a couple weeks ago, I introduced you to my top 3 obstacles that singers face when they go it alone and don't have a coach in their corner helping them out. So last week, we talked about the first obstacle, which is difficulty picking songs, which can paralyze singers. If you haven't watched that, I would highly recommend you go back and watch that one. Today, we're going to be talking about the tendency to sabotage your own goals and settle for less when the going gets tough. If this is something that is hitting you in the gut right now and you're like, yeah, this is me, I need this, then I want to go ahead and invite you. We'll talk more about it later, but I want to go ahead and invite you to set up a time to have a chat with me about the possibility of being in my No Limits Academy. So I was going to pick a specific person to talk about who achieved results in this for this kind of reason, but realistically, I think every single person out there relates to this. I know that there was a competition when I first got into the world of singing competitions and coaching singers for that. It was about 11 years ago, 12 years ago, 11 years ago. And I remember hearing some of the most bizarre things from singers, particularly my second year there, but my first year was when I first started hearing it. Singers would come to this competition and they had spent however much time preparing for it. They booked out an entire week of their lives to be there with the hopes of winning the title of the champion for that competition. And as the week progressed, as they started hearing other singers that they were up against, the language started changing. Everyone kind of came in with this like, yeah, I've got this, I'm going to win. And as the week went on, people started to be like, oh, and feel the intimidation and see the talent around. And what started changing in their languaging, they started saying things like, I guess I don't have to win. Maybe, I just want to do better than I did last time. Or they would say, I just want to make it into the finals. Or I just want to make it into the semifinals. Or I'm just going to be happier if my score is better this time. So as the week progressed, the goals that they had for themselves just got smaller and smaller and smaller. Do you relate to that? So a lot of times we have these aspirations for ourselves, and then once it gets tough and scary, we're like, maybe I should want something less. And we settle for something that's not as big and exciting as what we wanted initially. And that is one of the major problems that happens with people that don't have a coach in their singing. So for example, have you ever decided that you want to go on a diet? I mean, raise your hand if you have ever. I was on a diet from age 9 until about age 39. So when I finally was like, I'm not doing this anymore. So have you ever decided, obviously, if you've ever decided to go on one, have you ever decided to go on a diet and not tell anybody? It never works out, right? You do this in secret, you don't tell anybody. In the beginning, you might be like really gung-ho and following all the rules and making all the changes that you decided you're going to make. But then once it starts to get hard, in the face of temptation, you tend to say, just this one time, it'll be okay. Or, I'll get back on the wagon tomorrow. Or you might even say, well, I'm never going to achieve this goal by the time my sister's wedding happens, so I'm just going to move my goal to Labor Day weekend instead, because that's more realistic. Or maybe you say, maybe losing 50 pounds is too ambitious. Maybe I'll just aim for 10 instead. Does that sound familiar to anybody? Well, guess what? The same thing happens when you try to achieve your big singing goal without a coach. So let's say you have a goal to win a singing competition. You decide on a song you've always wanted to sing, you pick your songs, you work on them to the best of your abilities, and then you start hearing some of the other people in the competition and you think, they are way better than me. There's no way I'm going to outscore these people. Right? So that little piece of doubt in your head starts eating away at your own confidence, your own goals, and your own like, oh, what am I doing here? I'm not going to win. And then the worst thing happens. Because you're freaking out about other people being better than you, you make a decision, well, maybe I'll just shoot for making the top 10. Because that would still be awesome. When you get a coach involved in helping you achieve those big goals, that coach will not let you settle for less. It won't happen. That coach is right there when it gets tough. Right there when you feel tempted to lower your goals and settle for something less than what it is you truly desire. As your coach, it's not only my honor, but it is my job to hold your big goal up high in the air so that you can't touch it. I always think about, like I think about actually when I'm pet sitting and I have something like a toy or whatever that the dogs want, and I hold it up there and they're jumping all over the place, but they can't get it. That's what it's like being a coach. I take your goal, I hold it, and I put it up here where you can't get to it. Not where you can't achieve it, but where you can't knock it down. Where you can't decide, I'm going to compromise. It's at a place where you can't lower it. It stays up there. And what happens when this goal stays up there? There are so many factors that go into whether or not you're going to achieve that goal. The one thing that happens for certain is that when that goal is up there where you're not able to lower it, you achieve more. Whether you get to the goal or not, there's obviously there's a much greater chance of it getting there when you have someone challenging you, pushing you, encouraging you to do everything that you can to get there. There are always going to be things that are out of our control. But regardless, you will do better. You will achieve more than if you allow yourself to constantly lower your goal or by going it alone. I have a coach too. I have several. Because I know that I'm going to do way more if I have someone on my team rooting for me and challenging me to do the scary stuff and play bigger than I'm going to on my own. On my own, I can just hide in my room, just be like, yeah, I'm not going to go live today because it's too scary, right? Or, yeah, I'm not going to ask for the sale because it's a little scary. But if I have a coach who knows what I'm aiming to do, she's going to be like, do it. Are you going to do it or are you not going to do it, right? She's going to be making sure that I'm doing the things that I need to do. And no, we're not a bunch of jerks as coaches. It's not like that. It's way more encouraging. But the point being, we're not going to let your goals become smaller. We're not going to let you play small. And you know what my coach says about this? She says, this quote that I just absolutely love. She says, everything you've done has gotten you to where you are now. Every next level requires a different you. So to achieve something bigger, something better, you have to do something different. And it's true. You cannot do the same things you've always done and expect a different outcome. In order to get the different outcome, you have to change. You have to evolve. And a lot of times the best way, the best change you can make is getting support. Because getting support to achieve that goal just assures you're going to go farther. It gives you a much greater chance of achieving that goal when you ask for support. If you are interested in getting some support for your singing goals, whatever they are, I would love to talk to you about what it looks like to get support from me. I am opening up my academy for some people that are interested in coming in. I would love, if you're interested in being part of it, let me tell you what it is. So No Limits Academy is it's a year-long membership to this fantastic community where you get the opportunity to be trained for a whole year on how to improve in every area of performance. And the structure of it is that every single month we go through this same process. You learn something. In the beginning of the month, we meet as a workshop and you learn a new skill in a group with everyone else, which allows you to learn so much more because you're learning it alongside someone else and their questions you may not have thought of. So they allow you to learn things you might not have learned just on your own. So we all learn something together at the beginning of the month. Then you spend the rest of the month working on whatever it is that you learned, practicing it, implementing it into your songs. And you have opportunities, unlimited opportunities during the month to get feedback on what it is you're working on as it relates to that. Then at the end of the month, we meet again, and everyone who comes to class gets the opportunity to get live one-on-one feedback with me on what they're working on, whether it relates to the month's lesson or not. So you get a chance to have a workshop, an interactive workshop at the beginning, tons of feedback throughout the month, and then at the end of the month, each person gets the opportunity to have some one-on-one time with me to get coached on whatever they're working on. It's fantastic. The other thing about it is every single class that we've ever had has been recorded, and we have a whole anthology of all the training that's ever been offered. So you can go in there and learn something different that we're not working on that month. And this community, I talk about this all the time, but this community is like none other. And it's been like this since the beginning of the Academy. They are the most supportive group of people I have ever been around. And we have people from all walks of life, all levels of ability in this Academy. And the things that they support absolutely everything that you're doing. They're amazing. They become amazing friends with each other, an incredible support team with whatever you're working on. So you not only get my support, but you get their support too. It's just sort of built into what happens. So I would love to invite you into that. If you're interested, we will have a conversation about it to make sure it is the best fit for you. That is all I have for you today. I hope that you will stay tuned next week when I talk about obstacle number 3 that singers face when facing it alone without a coach. Thank you so very much. Have a fantastic rest of your week.